Good morning to everybody, and thank you for joining us. Today I'm going to speak about artificial intelligence and consequences on the workplace. Is an argument that is, I guess, very hot topic because we are surrounded by artificial intelligence. Also in this Congress, you have presentation in French, in German, subtitled from UK. You will enjoy automatic translation, so AI is everywhere. Is it? I will try to be as quick as possible in order to save a little bit of time for the other. Is it a monster or not? This depends which is your view of artificial intelligence. Something they say is a monster, something they say that is a tool that can be used for good. It depends if you know something, and if you don't know something, you are scared of it. But anyway, artificial intelligence is something that has been considered worth by European legislation. They decide to enact a regulation specifying what artificial intelligence is, at least from the point of view of the European legislator. Is it considered a machine-based system that is designed to operate with varying level of autonomy and may exhibit adaptiveness? This is the main feature of the artificial intelligence, because as a difference from the old mechanism that worked on predefined data, giving always the same input, AI operate on data they may vary, also considering data that no one gives to it, but is able to recover in order to give an output always different. Some example of artificial intelligence. We think that artificial intelligence is only ChatGPT. No. We have different kind of machine that can be considered. If you consider the GPS that you are in your car currently, and the old one that you have 15 years ago, the one that you had 15 years ago is say, I lead you from this point to this point, and I give you always the same result, no matter of the traffic, no matter of the situation, no matter of accident. Now the GPS helps you to find different routes. So it doesn't get all the data from the user. The user wants to go in a certain direction. The new GPS also gather information for the traffic, from the accident, from all the media, just to know whether this road is correct or not. So this is the adaptiveness. However, the legislature decided not to consider the adaptability as the mandatory feature to consider artificial intelligence. We can assume that the aim of regulator, avoiding this adaptability as a main and mandatory feature, is to include the highest possible number of technological tools in the definition and then subject them to the discipline of the AI Act. Why this? Because basically the legislature decided to follow four main targets in enacting the regulation. First, to set a series of obligations for the use and placing in the market of artificial intelligence tools, provide clear requirement of obligation to specific use of AI, categorizing AI unacceptable, high, low, or minimal risk. We will see what we are doing, we are speaking. Address the risk created by AI and highlight high-risk application, ensuring that they are placed on the EU market safely. Third point, Third point is compliance with European legislation. We don't need new legislation. We already have legislation that can be used. I speak of something that my Italian colleagues know very well, which is the remote control. Remote control is something that can be managed directly, the AI. Well, and we are ruling the AI issues in 2024 with a law enacted in 1970, but has been adapted to consider and rule also this instrument. And four objects: strengthening research and industrial capability while ensuring security and fundamental rights, including employment rights. Because we cannot neglect that AI is important, can help to solve big challenge, but needs to be correctly ruled and used. And what they noted immediately is one risk inside the AI application in the workplace: the risk of discrimination. We will see one example that we had in Italy concerning indirect discrimination using AI. But the recital 29 of the EU regulation on AI Act is diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness means that AI systems are developed and used in a way that include diverse actors and promote equal access, gender equality, and cultural diversity, while avoiding discriminatory impact that are prohibited by European Union or national law. So, one of the main worry of the European legislator is to avoid discrimination coming from the use of AI. Well, it's difficult now in this context, and Anna before spoke about DNI in the world considering the Trump order that has to roll back on any kind of initiative concerning DNI. DNI is a different topic. Maybe if I had to choose a topic right now, maybe I would speak about that. Anyway, it's important in any case that the law fight against discrimination and manage the artificial intelligence in order to avoid it. Well, it was decided to set the risk on 4 different levels. We are mainly concerned about the unacceptable risk and the high risk. This is important because we consider that in the place of work, in the workplace, the risks are high or even unacceptable. Let's consider that the AI Act was enacted in 2024 and expecting to be valid from 2026. But as far as the unacceptable risk, it is already enforced. What we are talking about, unacceptable risk. Unacceptable risks are AI practice that are prohibited, i.e., placing in the market the use of AI system to infer emotion of a natural person in the area or workplace. So any kind of system that can infer emotion from employee in the workplace is prohibited. And in this case, the legislator also gave a definition of workplace. This includes any setting where the work is performed and can vary widely based on the nature of the job, no matter if we are talking about employee or self-employed. So all the people that gave this working activity in a place of job. And what is prohibited? It is prohibited using emotion recognition AI system during the probationary period, using camera in place of work to track employees' emotions, such happiness, such anger. This is prohibited. This prohibition is also extended to candidates during the recruitment and hiring process. This is totally prohibited. This kind of system can be used and allowed only for medical reasons, but provided that this not interfere with employment obligation and employment contract. Then we have what we call, high risk, which are AI systems intended to be used for the recruitment or selection of natural person. And we will see an example of what misuse of artificial intelligence can, the result that the misuse of artificial intelligence can give, and AI system intended to make decisions affecting terms of work-related relationship, even arriving to dismissal. Based on my experience, for the time being, I never experienced someone say, the artificial intelligence told me to dismiss 15 people. But the fact that some employers start to speaking about reorganizing the enterprise based on a suggestion obtained from artificial intelligence gives me the idea that we are close. And now coming maybe to something that is more interested, at least just to know what artificial intelligence can do in good and in worse. Because, as I say, artificial intelligence is not a monster. It depends how it is used. Actually, the artificial intelligence is made by algorithms. Algorithms are not neither for good, neither for bad, are a set of rules to be followed in calculation to produce an output. The output is totally unrelated from the intention, but is just related to the instruction that the machine has to give that output. And let's start with the first case. This is a case of discrimination in Italy. Is a situation in which an employer dealing with riders, riders who gives to you some foods or everything you need, decide to organize the shift, giving to a platform the task to organize such shift. And the platform decide to put two criteria, clearly agreed with the employer, on the reliability, that is, to be always reliable in log before the section, and engagement, availability during the peak hours, during which the work is harder and there is a lot to do. And the machine gave the priority to the rider who met both conditions. The unions say, okay, I'm fine. Theoretically speaking, this system seems neutral. But if we consider why people may decide to cancel at the last time or may decide not to be available during the peak hours, maybe because they have family burden, because they are sick, or because they decide to strike. And in fact, the decision at the end of the day was the following. The reservation access system adopted by the employer realizes not a direct discrimination, but an indirect discrimination by enforcing a provision that is apparently neutral, because I'm using to how can say, sorry, two parameters which are neutral, but can be detrimental to people who decide to go on strike or that are simply sick. I have to say that in that case, the judge didn't go through the system just to identify how the system made a mistake or the misuse of the system, just focused on the output, that is an indirect discrimination. But could be interesting also in perspective to understand whether the mistake has been made by the man, by the person who instructed the system, or by the system that gave a wrong result. Another example of potential discrimination is the one, a recruiting system implemented by an employer active in logistics sector. I didn't put the name, but maybe you can understand who we are talking about. And the aim of this tool was to analyze all the CV in order to decide who to hire. And they noticed that it was discriminatory against women because the use algorithm was trained, not decided, was trained to vet applicant by observing pattern of the CV in the last 10 years. They were mainly male. Therefore, the system say, okay, this is the right parameter, male. I will decide to select male rather than female. So another case in which a system, I don't want to say with a specific guilty on it, but was instructed in order to give an output that can be considered a discrimination. I try to move on. We were other example. This is regarding France. This is regarding France. Is used by another entrepreneur active in the logistics sector that basically had a problem because the system used by him tracked work breaks and interruption with such precision that employees were required to justify every pause or disruption. And what was the tool to understand which was the length of the break? The use of the barcode. Through the mandatory use of a barcode scanner, which was used to process order. The system recorded period of inactivity as interruption of barcode scans. So you can understand that no one can expect that using the machine to track the barcode scan can be used to monitor the activity. Two slides on this is not important, but basically use of remote control by GPS. But another one. Virtual intelligence is not only an evil tool, cannot be an evil tool, but can be used for good. This is a virtual example in Italy. The employer and the trade union in that case reach an agreement stating that the AI system aims to improve customer service and overall commercial performance with the company, declaring that the technology is only for organizational purpose and not for monitoring employee work, including disciplinary purpose. In that case, the control of emotion from the voice was not aimed at the employee, but to the customer, just to understand and help the operator taking the call what kind of situation he was going to face with a client, with a hungry client, with a happy client. And this helped because one of the aspects of the agreement among employer and trade union was to consider, to guarantee the fact that the operator was, the name of the operator was not tracked, was not recorded, was only to help the operator to work in the better shape. I'm going to finish. So basically, to recap, these are the problem and the element to be taken into consideration in feeding an AI system. And the problem, from where the problems may arrive. First, lack of human check. We need to have human always monitoring the use of the AI, at least until we will be not sure that the AI can act ethically. Unconscious bias. For example, the case of a CV tracking system. We was fed only with CV from mails. And in that case, the AI did not take by itself the CV. The CV were gave to him. So the unconscious bias are also that. The prompt, the information that I gave to him. The database, so the database are a bunch of information from where the AI system goes and take information. The algorithm, how the algorithm is prepared, and the hallucination. And just to finish, I will go, can you just move? A kind of hallucination that concerned the lawyer. This helped in Italy. It happened that a colleague has used artificial intelligence to gather some precedent to strengthen his defense brief. And the AI gave some precedent, including number, including a short description of the case. The problem is that those cases were unexisting, or at least were totally wrong, exposing the colleague and his client to a claim for damage for malicious litigation. Fortunately for the defendant, the judge denied the claim, first because the lawyers say, okay, I will withdraw from that precedent and I feel so sorry. And second, because the claimant was not able to prove the damage. But the problem is there. Artificial intelligence is useful, but need to check. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aldo. We open the question, please. Yeah.
No, I believe that because I tried to accelerate. Do you have any question?
Back to what you were saying about inferring emotion about the law. Can you just tell us a bit more about that? Inferring emotion from a sort of a camera looking at the inferring the emotion on
Camera, audio as well. Having able to infer from voice, from tonality, from video, from the look, from everything, this kind of emotion. Because, well, maybe if you know already the police, at least in the US as far as I know, use tracking system to check possible suspect individual. So it's not totally brand new, but they are going to improve it and also trying to offering to the employer just to see whether this can be of some utility. And the legislator decide to say, no, you cannot use it. You can use only if you want to control the health status of your employees. For example, as far as I know, there was some tool but let's consider what you have in your car, especially who have the brand new car. The fact that when you start having some problem and start sleeping, the car advises you. Now I read that some car start slowing, start moving to the right, and they will park on an emergency line. So in that case, this kind of tool is useful and is important to have it. But we are not talking about a potential control over the attitude, not only the actual working activity, but even to the attitude of the employee in the workplace, that actually, at least from Italian point of view, is not admitted.
We know that everybody is using AI now. So the question is how to limit or the damages.
Well, the use of the policy is important only when the certain use of the electronic tools are prohibited. In Italy, we consider the importance of the policy, especially in the case of remote control. And we have extended experience in this kind of policy, not me, but all the Italian colleagues that face severely with often with this kind of problem, try to limiting and ruling the remote control where is possible and which are the limits. Regarding the other aspects, such as the CV track system or the misuse of the barcode, in that case, we can try to reconduct all this situation to the policy concerning the remote control. I don't know if they are already, if they are useful or powerful to rule all this kind of situation. In any case, establishing a policy and, if possible, trying to reach an agreement with union or with employee representation in the company can help the employer to be safe when acting afterward based on the result he obtained from the artificial intelligence.